Good evening and welcome to the March 23rd, 2022 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm pleased to have you all here, whether you're with us on Zoom or watching us on our YouTube feed. We'll begin the open forum portion of our meeting very shortly. That's the opportunity for members of the public to share their comments about town matters with the town board. Now, if you are watching us on YouTube or on our cable access channel, you'll have to log into the Zoom meeting in order to access the open forum. And there are detailed instructions for doing so on the town's webpage. That's www.townofbrighton.org. Now, during the pandemic, we have continued to make our meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community with our ASL interpreters. And as is usually the case, welcome to Heather and Allie. Thank you for your work. We appreciate it. As a reminder, the agenda and all the supporting materials for tonight's meeting that we'll be using in making our decisions are available on the Town of Brighton webpage. Again, www.townofbrighton.org. We'll start the meeting with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now begin the open forum portion of the meeting. As always, the open forum is an opportunity to address the town board about matters relating to the town of Brighton, whether or not they're on our agenda tonight. Now, I would note that if you are here to participate, to comment on the public hearing relating to the proposed noise control law amendment for the RG&E Winton Road natural gas project, we will hold that public hearing shortly. And if you want your comments to be on the record for that public hearing, please wait until the public hearing is removed from the table and reopened, and you'll have an opportunity to speak. In the open forum, we may not respond directly to your questions, particularly if they relate to matters not before the board tonight, but I assure you that we listen and we take your input seriously. Again, as I mentioned before, if you would like to address the board during the open forum, you must join the meeting on Zoom if you haven't already done so. Once you're here in our Zoom meeting, please use the raised hand function in your Zoom browser if you do intend to speak during the open forum. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to address the board, and I will advise you when you have 30 seconds left. Please address your comments to the board, not to other speakers, and please do not use the open forum to make personal attacks of any kind. Our goal here tonight and during the open forum held at every town board meeting is to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with the board and for us to be able to listen thoughtfully to your input. We'll now start the open forum portion of the town board meeting. Bridget, is there anybody who has raised their hand and wants to speak during the town board meeting, during the open forum?
There are no speakers, Supervisor.
Okay, then we will continue on with the agenda of tonight's meeting. And Chris, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Bill, I move we approve the agenda.
And if we can I ask? Well, that's all right. We'll deal with that when we get to it. So we have, Chris, we have your motion to approve the agenda. Can I have a second for that, please?
Second, Jason.
Thank you. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio. Oh, sorry, I missed. I didn't, was that a yes? Sorry, Jason, I didn't hear you.
You're muted, I
That
think,
was-
Jason.
Nope, that was an aye, yes.
Okay, thank you, sorry. Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. And before we go to the public hearing, I did also want to mention COVID test kits are still available here at Town Hall. Members of the public can get them at the police station, at the library, or at the information desk here in Town Hall during hours that each of those offices are open. As many of us are beginning to engage in more activities, it is helpful to test yourself before you go out with a group of people, or if you are feeling symptomatic. With some increase in the caseload from the new Omicron BA.2 variant, it is still important to take precautions to avoid spreading COVID, even as we do resume more normal activities. And that includes testing yourself if you are going out. So test kits will be available to the public at the town hall, at the library, and at the police station. We'll now move on to the public hearing. And can I have a motion to, you'll recall that last meeting actually on February 23rd, this public hearing was held and tabled. We have received some additional information from RG&E. So what I'd like to do tonight in a moment is have a motion to take this matter off the table. Although it's going to be my recommendation that we hold the public hearing, not take action tonight, and then table it again in the expectation we'll get some additional information from RG&E and from their contractor before the next meeting, before our first meeting in April. So that's the plan. Can I have a motion, please, to take this public hearing on the proposed local law amending the noise control law temporarily? Can I have a motion to remove that from the table?
So moved, Bill.
And can I have a second?
Second, Robin.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Legal notice on this public hearing having been given and removed from the table, I declare this public hearing on the proposed amendment to the town noise law to accommodate gas main work on Winton Road to be open. We do have representatives here from RG&E, and I would invite any one of them to present information to the board, please.
Hi, everyone. So we're here tonight just to gather feedback basically on what would be expected for the meeting in 3 weeks. We don't have anything
Brittany?
prepared to share tonight. Oh, yeah.
Brittany, if I could just ask you to state your name and your affiliation.
Oh, sure. Brittany Tate with RG&E.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So we don't have anything prepared tonight. This is more of an information gathering session for us, so that we're prepared to answer any lingering questions at the next meeting. So we're here mostly to answer questions on the project at this time.
Thank you, Brittany. There is additional information you will note in your packet, documents that are entitled Town of Brighton Town Board Meeting, March 23rd, 2022 Noise Ordinance Variance Request. That includes some new information that was not presented to the board at our previous meeting. And there are also a couple of items of communication, one from Heather Coyne, one from Matt DeAugustine, along with the communication from Stephanie Rankin, which sent this new information about the project. So are there any questions? Well, first, let me ask, is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this public hearing? Are there any questions or comments from members of the town board concerning this information that RG&E has submitted this evening?
Well, I look forward to discussions with the contractor to see what sort of mitigations can be undertaken, whether we can adjust the hours somewhat, the type of work to be done at particular hours. At this point, I'm quite uncomfortable with the idea of just a blanket elimination of the restrictions on night work. So looking forward to this further discussion.
Noted. Thank you.
Any other comments from members of the board? I did want to just comment briefly. There is the suggestion that by continuing to hold the public hearing open and not taking action until potentially the April 13th meeting, that would delay the project. And I want to make it clear, and I'll ask a question in a moment, but I want to make clear that it is not the action of the Brighton Town Board tonight that would be causing any delay in the project. We certainly believe that there's a good portion of the project planned for north of Chelmsford Road that is not subject to night work, and that portion of the project could be begun really once you've got your contractor now, once the contractor is ready to mobilize, once all of the other particulars are ready, and that relates to a couple of questions that I'm going to have. So I was troubled by the suggestion that would delay the project. And Brittany, I guess I don't understand with all that work that is not night work, why the project would be delayed.
So as stated in Stephanie's email, it's because the project is being permitted as a project. Thus, we do not have any permits and cannot get the permit until the night work variance has been decided on the entire project, so that we can send out accurate plans with accurate time restrictions and expectations, as is the expectation of RG&E on any of our final set of plans.
Do you have something? Do you have something in writing from the Monroe County DOT asserting that you cannot get a permit at this time?
You know, as we've gone over quite a few times, is we haven't gotten anything concrete from the county DOT, as nobody wants to make a formal comment. So, it is what it is. We do not have a permit at this time.
So just to be absolutely clear, it is not the responsibility of the town of Brighton to get a permit. It is the responsibility of RG&E and or its contractor. And it's the lack of a permit that is preventing you from starting. And of course, that is day work. As I had suggested in a conversation earlier, I don't see any reason you can't get a permit for day work to start the work. Again, assuming that all the other concerns have been met and that the contractor and RG&E are ready to go. And then come back, and if in fact the town board does give approval for the amendment to allow night work, have that permit modified to incorporate night work. The northern part, the day work north of Chelmsford, isn't going to change. So I just want to make it absolutely clear that the town of Brighton is not delaying this project. It is the fact that a permit hasn't been issued that as of now, and I want to encourage the DOT to consider this application and issue a permit, but I do want to encourage, as we work to get all the details squared away on night work, I do want to encourage RG&E to apply and get that permit and begin the work as quickly as you have planned to make sure that the work is completed during this construction season. But I do have a couple of questions. Has the city of Rochester approved the detour yet?
Yes, that was approved at their March 16th meeting.
So the state of New York has approved the detour, and the city of Rochester has approved the detour. So there are no more issues relating to the detour.
Correct.
Okay. And do you have information? I got the name of the contractor yesterday. Do you have information as to where they are planning to stage their work? And will their staging activities have to be addressed in the proposed local law?
No, there's been no change since our last update to you on that, and that it's not decided upon. And no, it should have no effect on the noise law that we're speaking of.
Well, how do you know that if we don't know where they're going to be staging?
Because as stated in the email that was sent to you, they'll be trucking in the week's worth of work. So during the duration of night work, it will be within that work zone, within the right of way probably. So they're keeping a minimal amount of materials to keep them busy during that work week, and then they'll be removed from the site at that time. So they'll be locally to where the crew is working.
So they will do that
Through the whole
trucking
project.
in of work during the areas that are not part of the proposed night work amendment during the permitted daytime work hours. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions about this project, either from members of the public or members of the town board? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Supervisor?
Sure, Ken.
This is Town Attorney Ken Gordon. Is it okay if I ask a couple questions?
Oh, of course. I should have asked. I'm sorry.
Thank you. In the letter or email that was received from Ms. Rankin, there seemed to be a suggestion that work would not take place on the weekends. Why is that? And is RG&E willing to direct its contractor to work during the daytime on the weekends And if so, how will that impact the number of hours that are required for night work?
I'm not sure if it's your computer or my computer. I'm not hearing anything right now.
Did you hear the question, Brittany?
I didn't, I'm sorry. It
Okay,
started to freeze up.
So can you hear my voice?
Yes, I'm hearing
Okay.
you now.
Ken, maybe, why don't you try again, Ken? Because I could see Brittany was freezing up on mine as well.
Sure. In the letter or email that was received from Ms. Rankin, it suggested that work would not take place on the weekends. Why is that assumption made in that correspondence? Will RG&E consider directing its contractor to do daytime work on weekends? And if so, if daytime work on weekends is performed, how would that help impact or minimize the number of night hours that would be needed to complete the project?
So the reason we're not planning night work is because of other discussions we've had with other organizations within the town. The ones I'm thinking of immediately are some of the religious organizations, and I guess slightly less is the farmers market that's held at the school on Sundays. Because if we did work, it would most likely be on Saturdays. Yes, we are open to that, but we're looking to, disturb people for the shortest period of time in a row. So generally we don't work weekends, but it's not something that we wouldn't consider. It just wasn't part of our original plan and any discussions that we've had with those organizations to date. At this time, we said night or weekend work is not anticipated on this project. So that's the information that's been shared with them.
It might be helpful to the town board members to have an analysis from RG&E or its contractor on how performing daytime weekend work on Saturdays and on Sundays would minimize the amount of night work to be performed on this project, because RG&E is asking the town to exercise its discretion in lifting, at least in part, the noise restrictions that we have under the town code. And before the town board members can make that discretionary decision intelligently, they should have all of the data available as to how to minimize night work.
Okay, understood.
A second question. Are there particular noisy work activities? And by noisy work, I refer to saw cutting, jackhammering, milling services, and the like, that could be performed only during daytime hours. And when I say daytime hours, I mean while the sun is up, which during the summer is much later than even now, such that those noisy work activities would not need to be performed during the nighttime hours, or could be prohibited during a certain portion of the nighttime hours, such that our residents could get a good night's sleep, even if night work is going on in their neighborhood.
So that option has been brought up a number of times before, and it's, there are certain items that we can say we won't do, but there's still going to be noisy work all hours of the night with the backup beepers and the trucking coming in and things of that nature. So I can't say after 10 p.m. we're not going to be making noise and it's not going to be disruptive, because it is still a construction site. And if we accept that limited time, that would leave us about 3 hours of work, noisy work a day. It would make more sense then, based on the feedback we've received from the county and the state, and allowing us to do day work if we do not obtain this variance, to do it all during the day, because we would get 6 hours of work. So
might it be possible for you to provide to the town board a list of those types of services that could be eliminated, if you will, or could be withheld during certain hours, let's say from a period of time from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., let's say. Is there a set of work that or types of equipment that it would work for you and your contractor to say, we won't use those during that 8-hour period of time so that your residents can get sleep during that period of time? If so, can you please provide that list? If not, can you please clearly state that there is no such list and that RG&E and its contractor are not willing to make that accommodation or concession, so that, again, the town board has all of the information it needs to make its decision?
Yes, we can provide that information and backup documentation.
Mike, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. I don't know if you might have anything that I omitted.
The last, what you just spoke of, Ken, that was the one thing I was considering as to whether, we had thought about maybe limiting equipment that makes more than 90 dBH or dBA to being conducted during the daylight hours, something to that effect, something like saw cutting. I suspect you can come in and saw cut and then do the rest of the work where you saw cut through the evening hours. But let's see what Brittany can come up with.
Any further?
Thank you, Supervisor.
Sure. Are there any further questions from the public or from the board? Brittany, Stacy, and Stephanie, thank you, each of you, for coming in. Thank you for providing us with additional information and for considering these questions. I do look forward to getting together, working with you, the contractor, and looking to see what we can do to mitigate the impact on the neighborhood as much as we reasonably can, while at the same time continuing what I understand is an important project through this construction season. And hopefully we can do that in a way that works, for all concerned. Can I then have a motion to table this matter, please?
Bill, I believe we already moved that we table it.
We need to put it back on the table. We've lifted it from the table to hold the hearing. And I'll declare the hearing. Well, no, I'll just, I just need a motion to put it back on the table.
So moved.
Thank you, Robin. Is there a second?
Second, Christine.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Again, thank you, Stacy, Brittany, and Stephanie. We'll move on to communications. Can I have a motion to receive and file the communications?
So moved, Christine. Second, Robin.
We have two items tonight. One is Ramsey Boehner has been an institution here in Town Hall for 32 years. He's outlasted almost everybody that was here at Town Hall when he started. And trust me, he's still got it going. But he also, I have to congratulate him on his decision to take some time and smell the roses. Ramsey will be sorely missed, but we do have communication from Ramsey announcing his intention to retire next month. Mike, between now and then, you'll do something about that.
I'll do my best, Bill. I'll do my best.
It's going to be a real farewell tour for Ramsey because he is, so much institutional knowledge. I know he's been working with staff and, continuing to, just make sure things move forward after he retires. And we'll wish him well, but we'll do that again before it's time to actually go. The other item we have tonight is communication from Attorney Jerry Goldman from the Woods Oviatt office relating to a proposed amendment to the existing incentive zoning approval for Jewish Senior Life. Without going into a whole lot of detail, they are proposing 2 4-story buildings on their existing campus, each with 35 units for a total of 70 new units, plus some additional space that will house some storage and other administrative functions, some fitness, and a theater for residents. So that in very, very broad brush is what is in their submission. We'll be simply receiving and filing it tonight. It will next be going, I believe, Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, to the Public Works Committee for their review.
That's correct. That'll be at the April 5th meeting.
Thank you.
Bill, one of the highlights I noted was the amenity that was suggested was 1,100 feet of
Well,
side.
actually, the amenity has not yet been fully worked out, Councilmember Warner, and is still under discussion and debate. And what is in the proposal, staff has made clear to JSL is inadequate for staff to recommend at this point in time.
Well, one of the high points I thought that high point should be noted, that is an amenity that's being suggested. Whether it's adequate is a whole other issue.
That's right. There will be more to follow on amenities if this project is to get the first action by the town board, which is that it is complete and ready for further review. But we're a ways from that yet. So we have a motion to receive and file those 2 items. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Next committee report, starting with Community Services Committee. Robin?
Thank you, Bill. The Community Services Committee met on Wednesday, March 16th, last Wednesday. The items that we discussed were an open forum. Jim Berger requested that the town board provide support for a May 22nd event that will be held here in town at Temple Brook Kodesh. And in addition to that, David Creamer asked that the town consider some type of resolution in support of the United Nations Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. Among items of continuing business in park issues, our Parks Department is in maintenance mode right now, and with ongoing field maintenance a priority. All are busy preparing our equipment and facilities for spring operation. Mowing contracts are set to begin towards the end of April, weather permitting. The parks are experiencing an increase in materials costs across the board and keeping an eye on current and future project budgeting, considering renewed pricing constraints imposed thereby. Facilities are currently still winterized, and it is anticipated that bathrooms will be opened as soon as the risk of frost has passed. around the end of April or early May. Routine maintenance of parks, facilities, and trails were discussed in light of our new land acquisitions. And in addition to that, Corbett's Glen North Trail repair and maintenance is a priority action item for crews as soon as it's dry enough to work. Under items of recreation, our concert sponsorship for our summer series has been solidified. We're grateful to Wegmans as well as to our other returning sponsors. We will continue to diversify our performance groups, and concert scheduling is underway with that goal in mind. Our Recreation Department summer camp hiring was discussed with attended concerns regarding recruitment of quality staff. We remain hopeful that newly anticipated partnerships with local staffing firms will benefit the town with a plethora of diverse quality recruits. The department is also interviewing for a part-time recreation assistant for the Brighton seniors, and also Recreation will be hiring full-time recreation leader. Evaluation of the Brookside space with respect to programming needs is ongoing. Accessibility improvements for the community garden entrance were discussed. Clean Sweep registration is set up and ready to open upon final confirmation. Feasibility study report on recreation from our consultants, SWBR, is under review internally for updates and corrections in anticipation of presentation of a draft to the full board and the community soon. An update to our Winter's Farmers Market. Budget discussions are underway for the next phase with ongoing supply chain and fossil fuel pricing challenges, resulting in estimates that are coming in higher than expected. Town staff have begun work on the site to prepare for grading, roadway, and parking lot development. An update to our Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board. The board met on Thursday, March 10th, to finalize edits to the draft idea plan and website. At the February 23rd presentation to the town board was a success, and the website at www.brightonidea.org is up and features the draft idea plan that was presented to the board on February 23rd. There is also an active job posting for a full-time DEI director with the town of Brighton, with a deadline for application of March 25th. If you'd like to find out more information about that opening, the website is www.townofbrighton.org/319/job-openings. An update to the Community Choice and Community Solar Aggregation programs. There has been no official action by RG&E and the PSC, or Public Service Commission, nor Source Power with regard to the community solar billing errors as yet. This is a frustrating situation, but not limited to Brighton. So we continue to work with our partners in order to fix the billing concerns that have been discussed publicly. And then an update, priority actions and sustainability funds, the climate action plan, first public forum in conjunction with our consultant, Barton and Lujudas, will be on Tuesday evening, April 5th at 7 p.m. The format will be remote via Zoom. And for more information on the climate and related events, you may visit the website townofbrighton.org/climate-action-plan. We had no updates to our Urban League of Rochester and Town of Brighton first-time home buyer program, where eBank is working internally to develop a program personalized to the town. An update to Clean Sweep 2022, which will return on Saturday, March 7th. We do have a meeting anticipated with the Brighton Central School District that has been moved from March 24th tomorrow. And that meeting is to set up transportation and plan Brighton High School and 12 Corner Middle School participation. Our waivers for the participation of registrants is under review, but registration will be opened up to the public once those the waiver format is confirmed. Christine, would you like to update us on the Hopper program?
Sure, just a very brief update. Hopper continues to lock down locations for the stations. At this point in Brighton, confirmed stations are at 12 Corners, Town Hall. Hopper is closer and closer to confirming a station at Tops Plaza. At the very edge of Brighton, actually on the city side of the line, there will be a station at Citygate. And we're hoping to see a station at the landing on Westfall Road, adjacent to the Brickyard Trail. Other stations under consideration are still a little uncertain at this point, but we've got a fair number spread around town, which will make hopping on a bike and getting around town much easier this year than in phase 1 last year. So it continues to grow. Oh, and I'm sorry, launch date is projected for April 1st. Still on target for that.
Wonderful. And in addition to that date, we have some upcoming event dates. Our Brickyard Bunny Trail ribbon cutting and opening ceremony will be at the Elmwood Avenue entrance to the Brickyard Trail on Friday, April 8th at 12 p.m. Bunny Hop will be at the Brookside Recreation Center, 220 Idlewood Road on Friday, April 8th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. This event is free, but registration is required as space is limited. Our summer program registration for playground camps only will begin for residents on Tuesday, April 12th at 9 a.m. And for non-residents, registration begins on Tuesday, May 17th at 9 a.m. And for all other programs in the summer, our resident registration begins on Tuesday, May 3rd at 9 a.m. and non-resident registration begins on Tuesday, May 17th at 9 a.m. Full details may be found online. In addition, our Drug Enforcement Agency National Pharmaceutical Take Back event will be at the Brighton Town Hall Public Safety Wing, 2300 Elmwood Avenue on Saturday, April 30th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Brighton Clean Sweep, again, will be at Brighton Town Hall, 2300 Elmwood Avenue on Saturday, May 7th. That event will extend from 9 a.m. and we usually conclude at French Road Elementary School at 2 p.m. And finally, our semi-annual electronics recycling and secure document shredding event will be at the Brighton Highway Department parking lot, 1941 Elmwood Avenue on Sunday, May 15th, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Our next meeting of the Community Services Committee will be on Wednesday, April 20th at the Brookside Recreation Center at 9:30 a.m. As always, members of the public are invited to attend. That's all I have.
Thanks, Robin. And I got some additional information on the billing issues fairly late this afternoon. And since you mentioned those issues, let me add some information now rather than waiting to the matters of the supervisor at the end. First, I want to make it clear that these are billing issues that were caused both by Source Power and by RG&E. The town of Brighton, when we found out about these issues, filed a complaint with the Public Service Commission against both RG&E and against Source Power. And I say that because RG&E has sent another letter to residents who were in the community solar program and got these large and unexplained adjustments to their bills. And while I appreciate the fact that they did it, I was disappointed, one, that RG&E in the letter did not take any responsibility for those billing errors. They are responsible along with Source Power. They also didn't really give any good answers to our residents as to what they can expect, other than to say that their accounts are going to be still going to be frozen for 60 days. And I'm not sure whether that 60 days dates back to when the problem first emerged back in January or now. But in any event, our expectation is that RG&E, we've said this before, must offer a detailed explanation of bills to all their customers or to bills that were never sent. We know that RG&E didn't send bills to some customers, and there's been no explanation as to how monies were applied during that time period. People need to understand that. People need to understand that they're going to be offered proactively a payment plan. We've heard from some people who were offered a payment plan, but it was really in the context of collection. And that's not what this is not a collection matter. RG&E has said that they're going to put this for 60 days on hold. And so they should be reaching out to people, but with a non-confrontational payment plan. I did hear today that the public service, someone is going to be reaching out to me for a meeting directly with public service. It's the first that I have heard that, and I welcome that. And I also heard from RG&E that a vice president in their billing area will also be reaching out to us to meet. And I think those are hopefully positive steps because our residents need more. And we will continue to advocate for our residents who have been caught in this terrible billing snafu until all of these billing errors have been resolved once and for all. So more to follow. Next, we have our Finance and Administrative Services Committee report. Jason.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee met last Tuesday, March 15th. Each of the items that were discussed in committee appear on tonight's town board agenda and will be voted on and discussed in further detail. Our next meeting will take place on Tuesday, April 5th. We meet at 3:30 in the afternoon in the main auditorium at Town Hall, and the public is invited to attend.
Thank you, Jason. Public Safety, Chris? You're muted.
You know, I am going to miss that. Maybe someday. Excuse me. The Public Safety Committee has not met since our last town board meeting. Our next meeting will be on April the 12th at 8:00 a.m. Public is invited.
Thank you, Chris. And Christine, Public Works.
Likewise, Public Works has not met since the last town board meeting. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, April 5th, a very busy day for town government. Tuesday, April 5th, 9 a.m. And the public is always welcome to attend.
Thank you, Christine. Moving on to new business. Jason, reading and approval of claims.
Yes, Bill, yesterday I reviewed claims totaling $582,399. Notable claims include to Baker and Taylor Incorporated, the amount of $10,327.23, representing payment for the purchase of library books, media for adults and children per contract pricing. Also to the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance, in the amount of $49,205.50, representing 2022 second quarter premium per contract. Also to Spring Sheet Metal and Roofing, the amount of $6,460, representing partial payment for materials purchased for the library roof per contract. Also to Swain Ski Resort in the amount of $8,814, representing payment for recreation program ski and snowboarding sessions. And that amount was reimbursed by participant fees that were paid. And finally to Aetna in the amount of $16,233.16 for retiree health insurance premiums for the Medicare supplemental policies available to retirees for the month of April 2022. And that represents a savings over and a simplified process over the prior provider. This was discussed earlier this year. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second, Robin.
And I would just add that move to Aetna, not only is it a significant savings, both for the town, but also for those retirees that pay a portion of those costs, but it's also a much more portable plan, and retirees who may spend part of the year somewhere else in the United States will have a much easier time because Aetna is, of course, a national provider. So we have a motion and a second. Any further comments on the claims? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Chris? You're muted, Chris.
I think I muted myself. Bill, the next item is to authorize the supervisor to award a bid contract to Terry Tree Service in an amount not to exceed $54,435 for tree maintenance and removal services for a term of 1 year, effective immediately through December 31, 2022, with 3 optional 1-year renewals. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Can I have a second?
Second, Christine.
Mike, anything you'd like to, I know you discussed this at Finance Committee, but anything you'd like to add?
Thanks, Supervisor. Just real quick, we had 3 bidders. We have been using Birchcrest Tree and Landscape. They did a fine job for us. They were not the low bidder. So Terry Tree was the low bidder. We have also worked with Terry Tree in the past. So they're a competent firm. They're reputable, and they're right now have lower prices. We look forward to working with them. We sat them down prior to this meeting, prior to the FAST meeting, actually, and everybody had a clear understanding of the contract requirements. So I feel comfortable that they're going to do a fine job for us.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Any further comments on this contract? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Jason, if you do the next one, please.
Sure. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Shift Diff LLC for online job posting services in an amount not to exceed $25 per month, $300 per year. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. Shift Diff is sort of a local Indeed. It is owned locally by a Black woman and her husband. They have been doing job postings across the board, blue collar, white collar, part-time. And this will be one more opportunity to get all of our positions more broadly viewed in the public, as well as meeting one of the objectives of the still draft idea plan, which is to make sure that we are supporting local diverse businesses and making sure our employment positions are available broadly. this is as many postings as we have. So we will be able to get our positions up right away as we get them, and for a very nominal amount. So we have a motion and a second. Anything further? Amaret Miller and her husband Rahim are the owners of this business. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. I'm going to ask that we skip the next item, the contract with Stantec. As we had discussed, I think maybe both at Public Works and Finance, we have on numerous occasions urged the state DOT to consider allowing left turns, a left turn arrow with a dedicated left turn lane from Monroe Avenue, from Winton Road onto Monroe Avenue. They have repeatedly said no. And our thought was, well, let's reach out. Let's have a local traffic engineer review this. And the suggestion was, because we hear it all the time, this is one intersection where we hear repeatedly, and I won't go into my own layman's traffic analysis of why it makes sense, and that's fine. But if a traffic engineer feels the same way, then it's something that I would hope and expect the state would do to make traffic flow better in that area. We're waiting to hear back from the state, and hopefully we'll have this on at the next meeting. So I'm just going to skip over this item right now, and I'll move to the next one.
Supervisor, if I may, this is Town Attorney Ken Gordon. The matter is on the agenda.
Do you want to table? Do you want a motion to table it then?
Moved. No, I would just ask if there is any town board member who wants to move on adopting the resolution that was put before them. They should make that motion. If there is no motion, there is no motion, and no action is needed.
It's my, and I'll just say again, it's my recommendation that we not take action, that we not commit to spending this money without knowing that the state will go ahead with us. Okay, then thanks, Ken. We'll have this on again at our next meeting. Next item, Robin.
Certainly, the next item seeks to amend the Department of Public Works Building and Planning Table of Organization by replacing the title of part-time building inspector with part-time assistant building inspector, and placing the new title in Group X of the
10.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Group 10 of the part-time, permanent, and seasonal employee wage schedule. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Christine.
Thank you. Any, Mike, again, would you like to discuss this? And then I'll have you discuss the next one when we get to it.
Sure, and I'll be quick. We originally, we did the reorganization, or we presented the initial reorganization back in October last year. We were looking for a part-time building inspector. Following that, we reviewed a bunch of civil service titles, and the assistant building inspector's title stood out for us as to the services we'd like to provide. So that's why we're making this modification.
Thank you. Any further discussion on that matter? Hearing none, Dan, if you would call the roll on this motion.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Christine, if you do the next one.
Certainly. The next matter seeks to amend the Department of Public Works Sewer Department Table of Organization by replacing Clerk 2 part-time with Clerk 2 full-time with the salary set at Group 3, Step 2, and promote Ellen Padullo from Clerk 2 part-time to Clerk 2 full-time, Group 3, Step 2. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Robin.
And Mike, this personnel change?
Sure. Ellen's been with us part-time. She's demonstrated she can, she can certainly take care of the position or perform the duties of the position. She's worked closely with Kathy Infantino, who recently retired. She'll be taking on a good portion of her duties. We originally had talked about having this as a step 3. When we presented it to Paula, it was a significant increase that honestly was in error as a recommendation to step 3. So what we'd like to do is bump it back to a step 2. I think it's a better representation of the position. Ellen will do a fine job there. Stevie Zimmer has the highest regard for her. So she's been working, obviously this is a nunc-pro-tunc, so she started basically on the 14th. And she's been doing a fine job. She's been doing great.
Great. It's an important position. Kathy Infantino, talked to an awful lot of people, and I'm sure Ellen will do a good job as well. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. And Christine, why don't you do the last one as well?
Happy to do so. The next matter seeks to approve an appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. It seeks, based on the correspondence from Supervisor Mealy requesting approval for the appointment effective immediately of Matthew M. D'Agostine of Hollywood Avenue to the Zoning Board of Appeals to fill the unexpired term of former member Jean Dale. The term will run through December 31st, 2027. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Can I have a second?
Second. Second, Chris.
We did interview Matt. It was a great interview, and as we always say, we are so grateful for the volunteers who have the talent, who have the perspective to come to our volunteer boards to interview with us, and we look forward to Matt, your service on the zoning board. We have a motion that's been seconded for that appointment. Dan, please call the roll unless any other comments. Go for it, Dan.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, can I have a motion to receive and file the February 22 expense and revenue report?
So moved. Jason.
Second, Robin.
As always, Paula will give a further report after the first quarter.
Okay.
All right. Any discussion on that motion to receive and file? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Matters of the town attorney, Ken?
Thank you, Supervisor. Last time we met, we had not received word from the governor on the extension of the executive order, which allows for these virtual meetings. We have now received word that the governor has extended the executive order allowing virtual meetings through April 15th of this year. So our next meeting on April 13th will in fact be held virtually via Zoom. while there was some news reports which suggested that this extension would be the final extension by the governor, and some words by a governor's spokesperson that local governments should begin preparations immediately to go back to live in-person meetings, I did have an email exchange with Sarah Brancatella of the Association of Towns. She's one of the attorneys there at the Association of Towns, who said really that it's premature to judge what is going to be happening with BA2 on the rise in certain parts of the country, including New York State, and with some uncertainty about other COVID-related matters, and with apparently some rather senior state officials contracting COVID at a recent conference that they attended. There may yet be a further extension. So as Sarah so succinctly put it to me, I have absolutely no helpful information for you on this. So I have absolutely no helpful information for you, Town Board, on whether the extension will go beyond April 15th. All I can tell you is it goes to April 15th, and so April 13th, you will be able to still meet virtually.
And Sarah Brancatella is about as helpful a person as you will ever come across. She is marvelous, and I know she has her finger very much on the pulse. And I also know that there are efforts being made to craft a more permanent amendment to the open meetings law, and that may yet drive some of the decision making here. So we'll see.
There are some bills out there that talk about permanently allowing hybrid meetings. I don't think that we're going to see a permanent legislative enactment that allows virtual meetings on a permanent basis as only virtual meetings. I think there will be, when it is safe to do so, an in-person component that will come back into our regular every meeting practice.
Thanks for that update, Ken. Appreciate it. Anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Matters of Dan? Nothing. All right. Matters of the Town Board.
I did just want to make a quick acknowledgement. March 21st was the International Day for Elimination of Racial Discrimination by the United Nations. And that was created after an incident in which 69 people were killed in South Africa in 1960. And today, March 23rd, will mark 2 years since the tragic death of Daniel Prude at the hands of the Rochester Police Department. And while the public didn't know on this day 2 years ago about this tragic interaction between this vulnerable man experiencing a mental health crisis and the brutal force with which he was met by the RPD, we would discover more than 5 months later that this tragedy had unfolded on our streets. And that was in the midst of public outrage and outcry about the brutal murder of George Floyd and so many others, and the uprising against the disproportionate and excessive use of force against people of color and the most vulnerable in our society. So although I'm unable to attend the vigil and lantern release at Martin Luther King Park today, I wanted to acknowledge the loss within our community and make a call for justice for Daniel Prude.
I thank you, Robin. That was a very important acknowledgement, and we do well to say his name, Daniel Prude, and to remember what happened on the street that night, and what happened afterwards, which was a cover-up. And this community will long remember that. Thank you for that, Robin. Anything else? Then can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Again, the next meeting of the Brighton Town Board will be Wednesday night, April 13th at 7 p.m. I do anticipate, as the town attorney said, that it will be held remotely on Zoom. And with that, have a good night, everybody. Stay safe.